Today News Update.
It's Thursday, August 25, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Thanks for joining us. Stop putting all your eggs in the tourism basket. Today, the principals of Upturn Funds Caribbean advise regional governments it's time to diversify their economies if they want to survive. At the opening of the venture capital firm's inaugural investment summit this morning, UFC co-founder Raphael DeAngelis said big opportunities await the region.
Of all the projects that you have, the first one, and Mark Green participation as well, we're very thankful, can be a game changer for the region, which is the Maritime Project. Without logistics integration, without transportation infrastructure developed for peoples and cargoes and goods, there is no future in the Caribbean. You know, tourism is something that no longer works in this region, and there is way better markets and more fit to be a more aggressive competitor in the tourism arena than many countries in the Caribbean. But we know that if we integrate the region, bring the region closer together, we have a shot here and actually create economic prosperity in a level never seen before. And we base this not only on the fact that we want to integrate, no, we actually went through many studies in many different regions around the world to show the average growth that integration can generate.
His counterpart, Chief Executive Officer of UFC, Ambassador Dr. Andre Thomas, also suggested it's time the region spread its wings, as he highlighted the impact of international events on tourism.
When you look at the Caribbean, you realize that one of our major economic pillars, which is tourism, it's very clear how susceptible it is in our current world. And in our current world, with climate change, with geopolitical conflicts, and the integration of the world in which a crisis in one country in Asia or say Europe can trigger a chain reaction around the world that can affect people's inclination to travel, then our vulnerability is significant.
Meanwhile, United States Representative Mark Green, who also addressed the summit, issued a strong caution to Barbados and its Caribbean neighbors. He warned countries that accepting investment opportunities from economic powerhouse China comes at a price. His comments come amid rising tensions between U.S. President Joe Biden and his Chinese counterpart as a Beijing invasion of Taiwan looms.
What's good for the United States is good for the Caribbean. What's good for the Caribbean is good for the United States. Unfortunately, for too long, U.S. foreign policy has largely ignored our neighbors in the Western Hemisphere, particularly the Caribbean. And we've seen the detrimental effects of that detachment. From China's debt trap diplomacy, to Russia's extensive disinformation campaigns, Iran's funding of terrorism, to Taiwan's growing diplomatic isolation, to rising instability and surging immigration at our southern border. America's aloofness towards the Western Hemisphere has created a vacuum, and that vacuum has rapidly been filled mainly by Russia and China. And unlike the United States, which seeks mutually beneficial relationships, Russia and China care about only themselves.
In other news this Thursday, Prime Minister Mia Mottley wants to see Speightstown become the center of arts and heritage in the region. She was speaking last evening at the official reopening of Archers Hall Design Center in St. Peter, almost 2 years after the establishment was extensively damaged by a fire at a neighboring business. Mottley said the center's reopening is an expression of confidence in the area, and she signaled that additional projects will be coming to the northern town.
What you see today is simply the private sector version of what the government has been doing in Speightstown, placing our confidence in the future of this town to be able to provide jobs, to be able to earn for our people, but above all else, to be that place for the people of the north to gather and to be able to find their place, not just for entertainment, but for food, for business, and for all that you need with respect to being able to function in a rural society. Rural societies need towns in order for business to flourish, and this is what Speightstown has been for nigh 400 years.
Today was a big day for Vinnie Maynard, who celebrated her 100th birthday with loved ones today. Maynard, the island's newest centenarian, engaged in lively discussion with President Dame Sandra Mason, who joined in the celebrations via Zoom.
Are you having a happy birthday?
Oh yes, so far I am.
Tell me why you're having a happy birthday.
I'm very joyful about it too. To see all my relatives and friends this morning.
Yes.
Huh? So I can see what the Lord have done.
Yes, I agree with you.
All right.
Yes. Okay, so what are the rest of the plans for today?
My plans?
Yeah.
Well, I have no plans for today.
Oh, you're just going to enjoy your friends and family who are around you?
All the plans I have is to get together.
Oh, good. Well, you're not having any special meal today. I understand you like pork. You eat the pork today?
She understand that you like pork, so you want to eat the pork today.
Oh, I don't know if they have any pork for me because I like my pork. So I don't know if they have any beef. I hope so.
Okay. Well,
I hope somebody have their pork for me. Otherwise, don't enter my house.
Regional and international news coming up after this short break.
Pure oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of pure oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
Welcome back. To regional news, talks on a new minimum wage between the Bahamian government and unions intensify. Bahamians are hoping the two sides will settle on a figure that takes into account the high cost of living.
Workers could possibly see an increase in minimum wage before year's end. Now, while government remains locked in conversations with various stakeholders on what the new minimum wage could be, Trade Union Congress President Obi Ferguson telling a local daily that government would likely approve a $50 increase to the current figure, bumping it up to $260. But would that be enough for private sector workers? These residents do not seem to think so.
No, I think it should be $300. People working hard, everything going up. The cost of living is, going up. $300.
I think it should be more than at least $300 per week because everything in this food store expensive. Let's go to the food store, 4 items, $40.
Former Labor Minister Shane Gibson also contending that $260 is simply not enough.
I think a $300 minimum wage at this time is really fair for employees. For too long, employees have been getting the short end of the stick. And when you look at what it costs to live out there, the cost of, you heard the other day Rupert Roberts say the cost of the price of food going up, the price of fuel went up significantly. Everything is going up right now. So I think it's unreasonable for anybody not to want to give, not everything the employees want, but certainly make it more comfortable.
Meanwhile, these residents say that while an increase at this time is a step in the right direction, they say government needs to take into consideration the mounting challenges that they're faced with.
Rent going up, everything else going up. Everywhere you go, everything going up. So give us a break, man. Give us a break. Give us $350, please.
It never be enough. But it's a step in the right direction, right? But it's never enough because the cost of living every time the price going up.
Further afield, thousands of South Africans have walked off the job to protest against the rising cost of living. They want the government to intervene as fuel, electricity and food prices soar. More in this report from Al Jazeera Television.
Runaway inflation, hundreds of thousands of jobs lost, and a sharp increase in the cost of living have brought thousands of South Africans onto the streets. They want the government to address a number of issues, from pay rises to a stable electricity supply.
In South Africa, things are not easy for us. Seriously, they're not easy. Hear our cry Hear our cry, please. We are here. We are supposed to be teaching, but we are not teaching. We are here because things are they're not good for us.
The poorly performing economy has been worsened by the knock-on effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and inflation is at a 13-year high.
The way forward is tapping into this anger that's definitely developing over prices, over pay, and for poorer people, over food. I work with a group called the Community Organising Working Group, which operates mainly in informal settlements. And the demand that they've come with here is simply to say, food for all. Now, can you imagine that, how desperate that things are getting in South Africa?
Just yesterday, we have received another stat that speaks to unemployment rate in South Africa, which it mainly affects the youth. So hence we are here today. We want to hit the call to the government to say, can they consider relooking into into these things of petrol hikes, the ratio of employment.
While the government has implemented an unemployment grant at $20 a month, it's simply not enough. And more than a third of the population is unemployed. Organizers had hoped for a nationwide shutdown to bring the economy to a halt. While a few thousand have come out to the streets, many others haven't.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates or like us on Facebook. Sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Azumi Medium bus terminals as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.